for letting me be up here, because it's a bit crazy that I'm even allowed to be on this stage. I joined Nostr in August of 2024. Some very smart guy told me to use Amethyst and not Primal. Sorry, Primal, if you're here. Don't lean. Okay. And I basically just never touched it again. I started looking at it again maybe in May, I don't know. And basically since then, I'm on it a lot. And I've started working with NostrDevs.com, who are rebranding to Freedom Tech Company. And it's all basically, when I'm not doing my fiat work, it's all I talk about. But I've got a quick question for everyone here. Just a show of hands, who's ever had an email from any service provider that you log into saying, really sorry, you need to change your password because your email was found on a list?
Okay.
Yeah, basically everyone. Okay. The thing is, it's not just normies, but even a lot of Bitcoiners have just got used to the fact that our data is going to get stolen or sold or whatever the case might be. And that's the price we pay to just participate in life as we know it. That's the price of having a smartphone. It's the price of having a laptop and being connected with people all over the place. It shouldn't be that way. And because we know it shouldn't be that way, that's why we are on Nostr. So whilst people are on, X fighting over all sorts of things, whether it's free speech or whether it's their particular social cause, it doesn't really get you anywhere. And also, depending on what you say, like Ben pointed out earlier, depending on what you say and maybe even how you say it, like if you put a video up, then you're just going to get banned. But no one can do that to us on Nostr. I was speaking to someone just yesterday who said, oh yeah, but people shouldn't be mean to each other. I said, who gets to define what's mean? Who gets to define what's mean? Who are you going to hand that power over to? Because do you trust that they won't abuse it? Because that's actually what happens. That power gets abused. So we want the free internet. We want the free internet, we were promised. But what's really scary to me is I'm in a group chat, I was in a group chat of some pretty serious UK Bitcoiners. I don't think any of them are in this room. Actually, we were both in it and we both left it.
We were hard-forward.
Huh? We hard-forwarded. I hard-forwarded it and you joined me. Yeah, we were in the chat on WhatsApp, and I basically said to them, look, we shouldn't be on here, I don't want to be on here. I use WhatsApp. I can't live my life outside of Bitcoin without WhatsApp, but I refuse to talk about Bitcoin on WhatsApp. And I'll come to why in a bit. So I said to these people, look, we really shouldn't be here. At least let's move to Signal if nowhere else. And I got called a security dweeb. And I'm not, right? I haven't de-Googled myself. I haven't Graphene OS'd myself yet. It's stages. You do it in stages. But I got called a security dweeb for saying we shouldn't be talking about Bitcoin on apps owned by Meta. Because whether it's a predatory government or a predatory business, they're coming for us. You can't trust the things that they offer us. But Nostr gives us a level of protection that maybe all these other centralized apps and services just can't. For example, in Mexico, they want to introduce an anti-meme law where you could get put in prison for 6 years for upsetting a politician, right? Because they're very sensitive. And then over here, the Danish Minister of Justice said, and I'm going to read it out because it's crazy, I indisputably believe that surveillance creates an increased sense of security, and given that the prerequisite for freedom is security, I believe that more surveillance equates to more freedom. Okay? And the thing is, if you're not used to asking questions, which a lot of people aren't, they're going to read that and just think, oh yeah, that makes sense. Please surveil me. And this article, which well, the headline I'm about to show you, is the reason why I hard forked that chat. So So as of December, but in Europe and the UK, because of GDPR, probably for us from March, they're going to start reading all our messages and our conversations with AI. And right now they're saying they're going to use it to improve our ad experience. Great, but we know where that ends up. And the other thing with this is, yeah, I mean, this is why I said to the guys in the chat, we need to get off here because we know they can't be trusted. Okay, so what else do we need to know about this stuff? I think most of the people in this room are from the UK, so we know what's going on over here. It's getting pretty dark pretty quickly. And we need to be able to communicate privately. Now, White Noise put this post up about a month and a half ago, when Bitcoin hit an all-time high. Wasn't that nice? But privacy is at an all-time low, and no one seems to care. I don't understand why. So we need to start calming off, or slowly just extricating ourselves from platforms where we're talking about Bitcoin and Nostr because they're not safe, and talk about Bitcoin and Nostr on other platforms that are safer. So White Noise is still glitchy, right? It's being built still. They're going to make changes to it. They're going to improve it, but we can still play around with it. Then there's Matrix. KeyChat is pretty new. I haven't tried it yet, but people who have tried it say that it's pretty decent. And then there's Signal and Simplex. But if you've opted out of fiat because you know Bitcoin is freedom money, you need to opt out of the surveillance apps because Nostr is free communication. And I'm going to take us just through one predatory example. A lot of people use DocuSign. But the thing is, and that's actually because they have 70% of the market, they're huge. I used to use it, I don't anymore. They store all our contracts, which means they can get hacked or someone could leak the data. But also they're advertising how they're using AI to help you improve your contracts. But what else will they use that for in the future? All that information that they're grabbing from your contracts where you're building business relationships with people. And the fact that any hostile government could say to them, hey, let us know if anyone from our country is doing business with anyone from this other country. Don't stop them, maybe, or stop them, but don't stop them, just tell us who these people are. Okay, so this gets messy really quickly. Now I'm going to give some examples of freedom tech that counteracts some of this predatory behavior. One is a direct counterpoint to this, which is Sigit. Built on Nostr, fully encrypted in the browser, you can only access the documents if you are a named counterparty. Sigit cannot see how many counterparties there are or who they are, which means you can build unstoppable business relationships. Just because your government wakes up one morning and decides, I don't like that other government, and all your business or a big chunk of your business comes from there, they don't get to stop you. Another example is fanfares. It brings to life what the internet was meant to be in terms of buying and selling. It's the internet money era of content. The content that's on fanfares is encrypted. And if I'm brave enough, I'm going to put some of my content on there soon. But it means that creators aren't bending over for advertisers or the payment rail providers. Because what's happened up until this point is all our old style payment rails have been bent and contorted to fit in with the internet. And also because of that, they can censor us. But Ben was mentioning value for value. Everyone knows what value for value is, right? It's kind of nice. You put up a post, someone likes it, they'll send you some zaps. But for creators, that's actually no good. So Arkanox, who's one of the, who's the lead tech on fanfares, actually says what fanfares does is value before value, which is what we're used to. If you want something, you pay for it and then you get it. Okay, because what's happening right now is creators, like actual artists who are trying to live off their art, they put stuff up on Nostr, and we all act like we're at a strip club throwing out dollar bills, going, here, have my 21 sats, have my 21 sats. You can't live off 21 sats. And then there's Flotilla, made by Hodlbod, where you can build and join communities like in Discord, communities that can't be censored or shut down. So just basically, it's all this anti-censorship. And you shouldn't be shut down just because someone doesn't like the community that you're building. How many Telegram groups have been shut down? How many groups have you been kicked out of? So I read an article on Nostr recently by Contra, and he thinks what we're seeing now, because of Nostr, is the resurrection of an old ethos. He's saying that FOSS devs are operating in a very different system to devs in the fiat system. Because in the fiat system, I've worked at big companies in the past, right? And in the tech department, you've got the devs that work there coming and going, in and out, 6-month contracts, maybe 18-month contracts, where in the past, the devs that worked there were there for 5 or 10 years, so they knew the software that the company had. But now what happens is, they just bring people in, and if something goes wrong, they patch it, but then that person leaves, there's no documentation, someone else comes in, they're like, oh yeah, it's broken again. Oh, okay, I'll try and patch it, I suppose, but I don't know really where to start. Contra is saying things are happening differently now. He's saying because our identity is attached to our work, that there is quality in a lot of the work happening on Nostr. That the mark of the craftsman is returning. And it's so interesting to hear him say that, because in some ways it's true, right? Your NPub is your reputation, and your reputation is currency. So if you're interested in finding out more about what he wrote, scan that QR code and it will take you straight to his article. Or you can come find me later. But there are problems, not everyone agrees with him. I was speaking to Hodlbod about this about 2 weeks ago, and he said, well, yes, there are pockets of mastery, and maybe some of those pockets are really big, but there's also people that just build something and then leave it. They don't maintain it, they just move on to the next thing. And then a few days ago, I literally saw this post. Commit to what you're building, there's too much abandonware. And yeah, there is, because some people are just there having fun. They're building clients on top of Nostr that, you know, maybe 5 people use. And then they move on to the next thing. They're doing it just for the fun, maybe, or they're doing it for the lols. But some of them are doing it because, well, actually, I need to make some money, so I'm going to have to go back to my real job and spend time on that and not on the coding. So that's where another issue lies. If people don't have the time or the money to spend on it, what else is going to be affected? Sean says the UX isn't good enough on Nostr. He's built a whole website talking about this. The retention is basically 0. Traditional apps still feel better, so people aren't going to move over, or they move over to Nostr and then they move back. Basic things often don't work. Nostr apps sometimes feel slower, even though they might not be. They can be really complex. I mean, I'm surprised I've stuck with it, because when it starts asking me about relays and things, I'm like, I don't know. I haven't gone that deep into it yet. And data loss too, so if you want to see his website, scan that QR code. We were building for nostalgia too. Who heard about the Vine reboot this week or last week? Woo! Vine is back. But Vine is struggling because the normies are so happy that Vine is back. And the whole thing is falling apart under the pressure. And Rabble said, we don't get to integrate Cashew and show users there's another business model for social media if we don't have an experience that people enjoy using. There's an opportunity here to get millions of people onto Nostr. And if we don't support Rabble on the work that they're doing, it's just going to flop. And that's millions of people. Well, mind you, actually, I don't think they know it's on Nostr. It doesn't say it's on Nostr, so they're not going to associate it with Nostr. But it's an opportunity, nonetheless, for us to get them on there. So what can you do? Support FOSS projects, support FOSS developers. These are just some examples of small projects And they're in all sorts of sectors: logistics, crowdfunding, food and beverage, gaming, security, you name it. So if you want to find out a little bit more about any of these, come find me later. But the one thing I want to leave you with is I love Nostr because it's also super weird and fun. Okay, whether it's AI videos of black fat men riding ostriches, my favorite meme account, which is Gingers for Bitcoin, and I know who their stealth designer is. They don't make their memes themselves. And then there's Derek. Stay weird, Derek.
Always go full ass.
So basically, I just want to finish with, oh no, the slide's not showing up. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, the last slide died. The last slide says, if you're on Nostr, which I'm sure most of you are, use it. Use it more, and get your mum on it. Okay? Thanks, everybody.